we're kind of preparing the US population, at least, by extension, the world population, into that reality. The word got out within the government that they're showing up in 2027, and we better be prepared. And if not, there's going to be a lot of explaining to do.
Now, pay attention, because what you're about to hear changes everything. This isn't just some wild theory. There are signs, patterns, and real-world evidence that something is happening behind the scenes.
I've heard 2027 in a kind of an official capacity that I can't reveal.
For some reason, they don't want you to know about it. So what does this actually mean? And why now? In the last few years, we've seen an undeniable shift. Governments suddenly declassifying UFO files, high-ranking officials openly discussing non-human intelligence, news outlets reporting on unexplained phenomena, things they used to laugh at, now taken very seriously. But this is just the beginning. It gets even crazier, because if you think this is just about UFOs, think again. The real question is why 2027? Why that specific year? Stay with me, because in just a second, I'll show you something that connects all the dots. You see, there's been a pattern, one that goes back decades, and when you look at the timeline, you start to realize 2027 might not just be another year. It might be the year something massive happens.
NASA has whole archives of data, much of which I believe will likely have information that will help inform UAP. We need only look.
It shows the redaction of how many reports they've collected, for how many years. 2 of the 3 potential explanations are blacked out. The Pentagon, the intelligence community is treating us like children. It's time for us to know the truth about this. I think that we can handle it.
You can't shut your iPhone off.
Oh, I know.
It's always listening. It's always pinging towers. It's always pinging Wi-Fi, building a digital breadcrumb trail of where you go and what you do.
Everything you do on an unsecured network is at risk. Your passwords, credit card, privacy, and even sensitive work documents could be exposed to prying eyes. Now more than ever, is it important to protect your data online. That's why we use private internet access. With private internet access, you can safeguard all your online activity with military-grade encryption, protecting you from hacks, governments, and even your own internet provider. Plus, they have a strict no-logs policy, which means they don't track or store any of your browsing history, so your privacy stays private. One click and you're protected. No complicated setup required. That's why we ourselves use private internet access for everything we do online. Get 83% off and 4 months free using our link for a limited time. You can click the link in the description to try it out today.
For years, the Pentagon denied any involvement in UFO research. Then, in 2017, that changed. The New York Times broke the story about the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, AATIP, a secret government initiative that studied UFOs. The same government that told us for decades that UFOs weren't real had, in fact, been investigating them all along. But why? And why are they admitting to it now? In 2020, the US government did something unprecedented. The Department of Defense officially released 3 UFO videos, footage captured by Navy pilots showing unknown craft moving in ways that defy our current understanding of physics. These were not blurry, distant lights in the sky. These were highly advanced, intelligently controlled objects, maneuvering at impossible speeds, with no visible propulsion system.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. Yeah. We're on, bro.
But here's where it gets even stranger. Just months after the release of these videos, the Senate Intelligence Committee demanded a full unidentified aerial phenomena UAP report. And in June 2021, that report was made public. What did it say? The government admitted that they had over 140 cases of unexplained aerial encounters, incidents that were observed by military pilots, recorded with radar, and still had no clear explanation. They ruled out foreign adversaries. They ruled out experimental technology. So, what was left?
People think about space aliens, for me, is there's stuff flying over military installations and no one knows what it is, and it isn't ours. So for me, that's logical. You want to know what it is, and it's common sense, right? Stuff's flying over the top of your most sensitive installations, and it's not ours, and no one knows whose it is. You should find out what it is and tell us.
Think about it. Why would they go from total denial to open acknowledgement in just a few years? And this is where we start to see the bigger picture. Because while all of this was happening, something else was unfolding behind closed doors. Mysterious drones were appearing over US Navy ships, and nobody knew where they were coming from. In July 2019, something alarming happened off the coast of California. Over the course of several nights, US Navy destroyers were swarmed by multiple unidentified flying objects. These objects weren't just passing by. They hovered over the ships for hours, maneuvering in ways that no known drone technology can. And here's the kicker. The Navy never figured out who they belonged to.
So people have started to understand that, this is serious. UFOs, UAPs, they represent an advancement in technology that no nation on Earth has ever displayed in the theater of war. And now we are seeing incursions by UAPs in our restricted airspace over sensitive facilities. They can actively jam our radar and weapon systems, and they hover at times and manipulate our nuclear weapons.
Official reports describe these objects as multiple UAVs of unknown origin. The drones performed advanced flight patterns, darting across the sky at speeds exceeding anything commercially available. But the strangest part? Even with all the Navy's advanced sensors, radar systems, and surveillance capabilities, they couldn't track where these objects came from or where they went. What's more disturbing is that these incidents weren't isolated. Between 2019 and 2021, similar swarms were reported over nuclear power plants, military installations, and even Air Force bases.
We are not talking about UAPs just being seen over nuclear weapons facilities like Malmstrom Air Force Base, as was reported by numerous US Air Force former personnel. We're talking about multiple sightings, often over the same facility, repeatedly reported over many, many years by staff at these facilities, including power plants, because I'm in receipt of information from countries like India, Pakistan, France, Britain, China. There are equally objects of an anomalous nature being seen over nuclear facilities in those countries as well.
Now, think about this. If these were just standard drones, the military would have identified them immediately. The fact that they didn't suggests something else entirely. And this brings us back to 2027, because around the same time these drone encounters were happening, we started hearing whispers from inside the intelligence community, whispers that something big is coming.
In 2017, that set a clock of 10 years. I've heard 2027 in a kind of an official capacity that I can't reveal. I would say that people in the government are aware of something happening and that there's limited time, a few more years to prepare the people, and that's what's ramping up this acceleration from the previous 7 decades of not even acknowledging it to now we are acknowledging it at a faster and faster pace.
John Ramirez, a former CIA officer with deep knowledge of classified operations, didn't just throw that year out randomly.
There is a presence here, and that we need to explain this presence, because if they show up and we continue to do what we did before previous decades and they show up, there will be mass panic. But if you understand that if they come in 2027, for the US government to prepare the people about what is up there.
He said that government agencies have a timeline, a countdown to a moment when the world will have to confront a reality it isn't prepared for. But what exactly is that reality? Some believe that it's full disclosure, an event where world governments will finally admit that they know about UFOs and non-human intelligence. Others believe that something even more shocking is on the horizon. While the government is drip-feeding us information about UFOs and mysterious aerial encounters, something else is happening. The world's most powerful people, billionaires, tech moguls, and elite investors, are quietly preparing for an event. And the question is,
what do they know that we don't know, right? I mean, they're building these underground apologetics. Is this just the natural human nature towards thinking that these are the end times, our times?
They want to live forever. and none of us are going to live forever.
Yeah.
When you have that much money, when you're a billionaire, you either go up to space, you go find somewhere else to live, or you go down. You go bury underneath, you get your bunker. You got options, but it's not happening here on Earth.
Let's look at the facts. Over the last decade, some of the wealthiest individuals on the planet have been investing in doomsday bunkers. Not just regular fallout shelters, but state-of-the-art, self-sustaining underground fortresses. Peter Thiel, co-founder of PayPal and an early investor in Facebook, has a luxury bunker hidden in New Zealand, a country known for its remote, defensible location. Elon Musk, who's openly talked about AI, Mars colonization, and extraterrestrial life, has been heavily investing in underground infrastructure and space travel. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, is building a 10,000-year clock inside a remote mountain in Texas, a project that some believe is designed for long-term survival planning. Now, here's where it gets even stranger. These aren't just rich people prepping for a natural disaster. Many of them believe that a major world-changing event is on the horizon. An event that could destabilize governments, disrupt economies, or even alter the way humanity understands reality itself. And this brings us back to 2027. Because if the world's most powerful figures are building underground sanctuaries, and if former intelligence officers are warning about an impending event, then we have to ask, what's coming? And why aren't they telling the rest of us? But we're not done yet, because what you're about to see next might be the biggest piece of the puzzle yet. We've seen it before. Throughout history, when the elite know something big is coming, they prepare long before the public ever gets a clue. And this isn't speculation. This is documented reality. Governments around the world have long had underground facilities, but now billionaires and tech giants are racing to build private survival bunkers at an unprecedented scale. But what exactly are they preparing for? Here's what we know. Survival Condo Project, a former missile silo in Kansas, converted into a luxury bunker for the ultra-rich. It can sustain life for years with renewable food, air, and water supplies. Vivos X Point, located in South Dakota. It's one of the largest private bunker networks in the world, with over 575 underground shelters. New Zealand Safe Havens. Billionaires like Peter Thiel have secured properties with hidden panic rooms, underground tunnels, and off-grid capabilities. And they're not alone.
You do have a bunker there. Is there something you know that we don't?
No, I think that's just like a little shelter under, and it's like a basement.
A little shelter. What are you worried about?
Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Meta, has also been making quiet but strategic moves. In Hawaii, Zuckerberg has been buying massive amounts of land, securing over 1,500 acres for what some believe is a fortified, self-sustaining retreat. His estate includes security forces, agricultural systems, and rumored underground facilities. And it's not just billionaires. Even governments are getting ready. The US government has multiple deep underground military bases, DUMBs, including sites like Cheyenne Mountain and Raven Rock, hardened facilities capable of sustaining life for extended periods. And here's where it gets even more interesting. In December 2022, NASA's chief scientist, Dr. Jim Green, made a chilling statement. He said that humanity is not ready for contact, and that the world would struggle to handle the truth if extraterrestrial life were confirmed.
Is there life beyond Earth in the solar system? We don't know yet, but we're hot on the pursuit. The data that we're receiving is really exciting and telling us, forcing us to think about this in new and exciting ways. I believe we're on the right track, that in the next 10 years, we will answer that question. And if we answer it, and it's positive, then life is everywhere in the solar system. Just think about that. We may not be alone.
So let's connect the dots. UFO disclosure is accelerating. Mysterious drones are appearing over nuclear sites. Billionaires are preparing escape plans. Government officials are hinting at something coming, and 2027 keeps showing up in these conversations. So what happens then? Some believe that 2027 is the year when full disclosure will happen, when governments will finally admit that they know about non-human intelligence. But others fear that it could be something even bigger, because if the world's most powerful people are preparing for something, shouldn't we be asking why? Let's step back for a moment. We know that billionaires and world governments are preparing for something. We know that 2027 keeps coming up in intelligence circles. And we know that the Pentagon, NASA, and former CIA insiders are all subtly hinting that the world is not ready for whatever is coming next. But what if they already know exactly what's coming? And what if the signs have been right in front of us all along? Because here's the thing. The 2021 UAP report confirmed that military pilots have encountered craft that defy the laws of physics, objects moving at impossible speeds, with no visible propulsion system. And more importantly, these objects are showing increased interest in our nuclear technology.
Furthermore, those same observations have been seen overseas in other countries. They too have had the same incidents. So that tells us this is a global issue. Now, in this country, we've had incidents where these UAPs have interfered and actually brought offline our nuclear capabilities. And I think to some, they would probably say, well, that's a sign that whatever this is something that is peaceful. But in the same context, we also have data suggesting that in other countries, these things have interfered with their nuclear technology and actually turned them on, put them online. So that is equally, for me, just as concerning.
This isn't speculation. Declassified documents reveal that since the 1940s, unknown craft have been appearing over nuclear missile sites, sometimes shutting down entire weapons systems. In 1967, at Malmstrom Air Force Base, multiple ICBMs mysteriously went offline while a glowing object hovered nearby. In 1980, at the RAF Bentwaters incident in the UK, military personnel reported seeing a triangular craft near a nuclear storage facility, and some even claimed they received telepathic messages from it. And these incidents aren't stopping. In 2021, leaked documents confirmed that UAPs were still being spotted over nuclear facilities, and nobody knows why. Which brings us back to the billionaires. Because if these sightings have been happening for decades, if they are escalating, and if the world's most powerful individuals are secretly preparing for something big, then we have to ask, are they bracing for an event the rest of us aren't supposed to know about? Because the biggest question isn't what's out there, it's why they're keeping it from us. Some insiders believe 2027 marks an unavoidable event, one that forces disclosure, whether governments like it or not. Others believe we are being conditioned to accept a reality-altering truth, one that could shake the foundations of society, religion, and global power structures. One thing is certain, we are being prepared, but not necessarily for the truth. Because the real question isn't just what happens in 2027, it's whether they've been controlling the narrative all along. Think about it. Why are the richest, most powerful people on Earth building bunkers? Why are military insiders saying the world is not ready? Why are UAPs interacting with nuclear sites? And more importantly, why 2027?
There are people in this new administration that are much, much more proactive on this topic of UAP and air domain awareness. If there's one thing I've been trying to tell people for the last 7 years, UAP aside, we have no clue what's in our skies.
Whatever happens, one thing is clear. We are not being told everything. Maybe it's because they don't think we can handle it. Or maybe they're just buying time. Now, let's be clear. This video isn't meant to scare you. This channel isn't about fear. It's for those who know there's more to this world, more than what we're told, more than what meets the eye. Sometimes we connect the dots between strange events. Sometimes the patterns reveal themselves. And sometimes the truth is waiting to be uncovered. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, the world is far more mysterious than we've been led to believe.